Yo, shalom.
Shalom, yo.
Yo, this is Black Ice.
And this is Akis.
Yo, welcome to the Black Narrative and happy Friday Eve.
Almost there, almost at the end of this long week.
Yo, man, I'm glad y'all here. Of course, we live on the Yoshi Vibes music channel, and we will be live here probably until May. But
yeah,
of course,
they gave us a little stretch.
yeah, they get a little stretch, man.
Yeah.
And, YouTube pinned, but we here.
Everything else for a reason.
Yeah, everything for a reason. It was all good. And of course, you don't catch it live. We will have this video on the Black Narrative YouTube channel right after the broadcast.
Right.
So you can still catch it there as well. So that's cool. But you do want to catch it live. I will have a link in the description to the Yoshi channel, which is our music channel that we have.
Yeah.
And thank you for all the supporters out there. So Patreon, the Cash App, PayPal. We appreciate y'all. Merch, of course, we have.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, man. So we still got some. And you got some new stuff coming on the way. We still working on stuff as always. And yeah. So for tonight, so much has happened, man. And that's the only thing. It's kind of hard putting these shows together because, especially during this time, because it's stuff always happening.
Right.
And and as we were putting together tonight's show, the stuff at the Capitol was going down. Like,
right.
A lot of political moves are being made.
Man, when I did not know. I mean, of course, Joe's gonna get things shaken for the 100 days. But man, when I tell you, like, they've been just.
He signed a whole lot of executive orders. I want to say the most by any president ever.
Yeah.
I want to say close to 50. I want to say. He's just been signing back and forth. And as of a few hours ago, the Equality Act, we discussed here on the show before, about transgender rights and everything, that just passed the House today.
And it's going to pass the Senate.
Yeah, it gets past the Senate. We saw the confirmation hearing thing of the Dr. Rachel, what's her name? Talking about the whole
the transgender. Talking about they were basically getting into the whole thing of the fact that teens, mind you, they're not able to drink, they're not able to drive, but they're able to have make a decision whether they want to go through hormonal what they call hormonal therapy.
Yeah, and mutilation too.
And mutilation in order to change their gender.
Yeah, and we want to call it. Well, we say she, because the name Rachel, I guess now. He used to be a man.
Yeah.
And he fully dodged the question twice, basically, and then answered.
Literally said the same thing. transgender issues are
very
very
complex
complex, and this
yeah. So he didn't flat out deny that he won't consider giving it to minors.
they just
scary.
didn't he just didn't want to say it in public.
Yeah, right.
That's
yeah,
the thing. And
yeah.
man, the other dude, what's his name?
Yeah, I want to say Paul Rand or whatever his name was.
He was getting heated, and rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. So that happened. It's a moves with the U.S. government and China happening, which you already knew. Joe Tsai to China. So there's so much going on, and then the whole stimulus package that they was promoting so much had yet to be passed, and now I think they trying to I think they try not to pass it because now you get the Democrats in there. They want to add in the minimum wage thing, which all Democrats not on board about. So they're causing discord within them,
within the Democrats themselves.
And that's I was trying to think of the last thing that came to mind, and and now you have like over 36 Democrats signing a letter wanting a petition wanting Biden to release his full power over the nuclear launch codes.
Right.
Because as president, you're the only one to have access to these codes. Actually, it's come in a briefcase.
Yeah.
And so even when Biden got in office, Trump administration had to hand over the briefcase with the codes and everything.
Right.
So over 36 Democrats signing this petition thing saying he should share that the checks and balances responsibility between him, Pelosi, and someone else. And so it's like,
when did that happen?
Yeah, so it's almost like you don't trust him with that decision for some reason.
But they voted for him.
They voted for him, and then they're supposed to be having talks with Iran coming up soon. So I think it'll be interesting.
Right.
So there's so much stuff that's been going on, and why we putting together tonight's show, which is showing how the essential workers are the new slave class.
Right.
And we kind of discussed this before in the previous show as well, showing that a lot of these jobs that put the essential workers are at risk are most jobs that minorities have or black people have.
Right.
And not to say
go on.
Not to say that there's no white people having these jobs because black people are the minority. So outside of these major cities,
right, of course, in more rural areas or small town USA,
you tell your poor white community
exactly,
doing these same jobs. So so we were going to go through some of that because basically slavery never ended. So it's hard to pay reparations for something that's still going on.
Right.
Slavery's still going on. It just be rebranded and renamed.
And I mean, think about it. When it came to slavery or even sharecropping, the thing about it was you had a guaranteed job, and you had all these different guarantees, but you had to go through hard labor. You had a lot of uncertainty when it came to the amount of money you made, and you're basically bound to that job.
Yeah.
Because you had no other way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a similar case.
For life.
Right, exactly. When it comes to these government jobs, they're very secure, but they're not great jobs.
Right.
And it's one of those things where people are taking them not because they're passionate about it, but because they know this will give them a good check.
Yeah. Or just a check period.
Right, exactly.
If it's not even a good check. And even that, I mean, like, we experienced already in our lifetime a few government shutdowns.
Right.
Where they weren't even getting paid. I mean, when TSA, they had to work during the shutdown, and they wouldn't get paid for like over a month, and they were still obligated to work.
And that's
it was just crazy. And like I said, this would be a federal job.
But the bills aren't stopping.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? So we got a lot of stuff going on, man. So we're going to go through some of this information here. We also going to dive back in history a little bit because it's funny that some of the jobs that we hold now are very similar to the jobs we had in the 40s and 50s and 60s.
Right.
And not too much different, So we're going to go to PowerPoint. We can start off with the first article here. Here's the Black women's labor market history reveals deep-seated race and gender discrimination. Duh. The Black woman's experience in America provides arguably the most overwhelming evidence of persistent and ongoing drag for gender and race discrimination on the economic fate of workers and families. The Black women's labor market position is the result of employer practices and government policies that disadvantage Black women relative to white women and men. Negative representations of Black womanhood have reinforced discriminatory practices and policies since the era of slavery. The dominant view of Black women has been that they should be workers, a view that has been contributed to the evaluation as mothers with caregiving needs at home. So African American women's unique labor market history and current occupational status reflects these beliefs and practices. And
I mean, something that's interesting is, when it comes to this system, it's white supremacy doesn't have a gender. White
Right.
supremacy is both white men and white women. Because when you look at the how the plantation was made, you had the master and then you had the mistress.
Yeah.
Both of them were over the slaves.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's the problem I had, like, putting in the articles for tonight's show, because they try to separate black men and women, but, like, yo, black people, period, going through that. Because, like, you know, liberal media, they push the narrative. You know, like I said, you have a lot of black women. They may think that, you know, we are above. They say black men are the white people, black people.
Right.
That's a phrase I heard
sometimes
a few times.
Sometimes they say the white people of minorities.
Yeah, you know.
It's like when was the last time you seen a black man oppressing a Latina or a Chinaman, or you know, that's some outrageous stuff.
But they tried to divide and conquer, because, you know, we both face, men and women both face the discrimination, the racism, and all that good stuff too, man. And especially the black men, which has often been forgotten, because, like I said, we hardly have any good black male representation in media, period.
And so they're oppressing us all as one.
Yeah. We not on the same par as white men in the workforce.
Oh, heck no.
Not at all. But that's the narrative they're trying to spin.
And it's interesting, man, that divide and conquer, because white men and white women are both joined together in this oppression.
Yeah.
While black men and black women are both being oppressed.
Yeah.
But they're trying to make it seem like there's different struggles on different sides.
Yeah. They're trying to raise the race issue. Race is a big part of it.
Right.
Compared with other women in the United States, black women have always had the highest level of labor market participation, regardless of age, marital status, and presence of children at home. In 1880, 35.4% of married black women and 73.3% of single black women were in the labor force, compared to only 7.3% of married white women and 23.8% of single white women. So
how the heck were the single white women getting by?
Because white men were getting paid a lot more.
Right.
You know? Black women's higher participation rates extended over their lifetimes, even after marriage, while white women typically left the labor force after marriage.
Goodness.
You see that today.
Right.
I mean, I used to be a driver for Amazon, delivering packages at one point in my life, and then when I went to those affluent neighborhoods, it was most times you'd be a white woman at home with her kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, the father may not be there, but she was there.
But the father is working. He's off working.
But and not say, like I said, I mean, we just generally speaking, but in most cases, you know, in the black household, both parents have to work to survive.
Right.
You know?
If both parents are there.
You're right. Yeah. Usually, they're not there because they both at work.
Right.
You know? Differences in black and white women's labor participation were due not only to the societal expectation of black women's gainful employment, but also to labor market discrimination against black men, which resulted in lower wages and less stable employment compared to white men, which you just said.
So you see how they started off with the head.
Yeah.
They started off attacking the black men in the labor force so that their job wasn't stable. So now it already creates that rift at home.
Already.
And now the woman has to take up for the household, and now the kids, there's less time with both parents with the kid.
Yeah, the kids spend more time with the teachers than their own parents.
So it's just a systematic breakdown of the black family that even started way back then.
The new slavery is your time.
Yeah.
They take away your time to do other things.
So you can't progress, you can't grow.
Right. Consequently, married black women have a long history of being financially contributors, even co-breadwinners to two-parent households, because of black men's precarious labor market position. Black women's main jobs historically have been in low-wage agriculture and domestic service. Even after migration to the North during the 20th century, most employers will only hire black women in domestic service work. Revealingly, although whites have devalued black women as mothers to their own children, black women have been the most likely of all women to be employed in the low-wage women's jobs that involve cooking, cleaning, caregiving, even though this work is associated with mothering more broadly.
I mean, that's the case since slavery. And I mean, did you ever hear, I forgot exactly whose family it was, but it was a rich Hollywood family. And it was this black lady. I can't remember her name for the life of me, but she basically built her resume on top of being a nanny for these rich white people. And she would have these, and mind you, there's rich black people in Hollywood as well. Yeah. She would only work with the rich white folk. And I mean, she would have photos with their kids and all that, all hugged up on their kids, holding their babies.
Like part of the family type of vibe.
Yeah, it was a modern day mammy position. And it's interesting, I mean, just looking at this, this is the same the same jobs, the maid jobs that they had black women doing were the same jobs that they would have them doing during slavery. And you see how in this day and age these maid jobs are being replaced with by the Hispanics.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. These jobs only evolve.
Yeah.
Like the key thing that kind of stood out to me here, when they said I just saw it right here. They'll only be employed. Oh yeah. Most employers will only hire black women in domestic service work. Most employers are what? White.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
So even in 2021, we so caught up in the liberal narrative that all racism doesn't exist anymore. Or we are equal now. This and the third.
Right.
But like even in Atlanta, which would be so-called black mecca, most black people work for a white employer.
Right.
And most black business owners, they usually either self-employed or they had less than 10 employees.
Exactly.
Like they don't have a big I can't think of a black Fortune 500 company that have like 1,000 employees or anything.
I mean, just like we talked about in that one show about what was it? The stimulus check, I believe. It was something along those lines. But yeah, with Joe, because Joe was helping all these other people.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how you see that we're not able to. A big reason why black businesses haven't been given a stimulus check is because we can't meet that mark for having 10 employees.
Right.
Because we're so small.
But according to him, everybody say the minorities don't know how to use the internet. That he said in the press conference.
And then he's going to these Indian folks that have three restaurants in some of the most expensive parts of Atlanta.
Yeah. They didn't coming up in this administration.
Right.
Like Kamala making sure of that, right?
Oh yes. She kept Kwanzaa with Indians.
Right.
So she's trying to make sure they're straight.
Oh my gosh. Discriminatory public policies have reinforced the view as black women as workers rather than mothers. Oh, okay. They kind of repeated itself there. Up to the 1960s, caseworkers excluded most poor black women from receiving cash assistance because they are expected black women to be employed moms and not stay-at-home moms like white women.
Wow.
So it's like these go into laws. These policies further implemented at the state level of mothers, pensions, and then at the national level with the passage of the Social Security Act of 1935. And all the way up to the 60s, caseworkers excluded most poor black women from receiving cash assistance because they wanted them to work.
Right.
And of course, we already know, we just read that the most of the work they would get hired for was domestic work for white people.
And so
they wanted them to work for them and not get home and get cash assistance.
And that's interesting because, I mean, this must be before the projects, before they really started buckling down.
It's running at the same time. They're about to pop off.
Okay, yeah. So you see how they were playing with the system in order to...
Yeah, they were evolving it up.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. In order to work the black family to where they wanted it.
Right. This exclusion meant that for most of the history of welfare, the state actively undermined the well-being of black families by ensuring that black women would be in the labor force as low-wage caregivers for white families. This helped to secure the well-being of the white families and elevated white women to having to do this work. The state simultaneously undermined the well-being of black families by denying black mothers the cash assistance they need to support their children and leaving black women with no other option but to work for very low wages. Indeed, the backlash against poor black moms receiving cash assistance eventually culminated in the dismantling of the AFDC system and the admin of the 10A&F, a program with strict work requirements. So yeah, like you're saying, it goes into the projects system.
And I mean, we're seeing time and time again, white women are not allies to black women. And it was the same thing during slavery where the black mother or the black mother was taking care of the white woman's, the mistress's children. And then the mistress over time ended up having that resentment for, the black mother.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at it like, oh, the kids are latching onto her more than they are me. So that jealousy, there's been that jealousy, that resentment.
But they didn't want to do the work anyway, from the get go.
Exactly.
Which is great. I saw some interesting. I guess it was like a documentary on Michelle Obama on Netflix or something a while back, and I don't care for Obama, so I didn't watch it. But I think it was Dr. Boyce Watkins who made the point. I think it was him. But he was saying how, of course, the whole feminist movement, they try to push it where it's black and white women they're as an alliance, but it's separate. But Dr. Boyce Watkins made a real strong point. He's like, you can always figure out the type of person you are by people that are around you, right?
Right, birds of a feather.
So he said he watched it, and he's like, for Michelle Obama had so much power, she was always surrounded by white women.
Really?
That was interesting. So it's like, so you didn't surround yourself. So like, and he was saying like, and not saying these white women are underqualified, but he was saying like you couldn't find a black women that were qualified to be in these positions. That you could gain them opportunity.
Right.
Because there's no other time they're gonna have the opportunity again. Right. You could have been their foot in the door. Yeah.
Man.
But you gave to the white feminists instead. So I was like, damn, that's a good point.
But you see how, man, they don't want us moving forward.
Nah, they know what they doing.
On either side.
The legacy of black women's employment in industries that lack worker protections has continued today since black women are concentrated in low-paying, inflexible service occupations that lack employer-provided retirement plans, health insurance, paid sick and maternity leave, and paid vacations. Over a third, 36% of black women workers lack paid sick leave.
So they're just working them as hard as they can.
Only thing I have against this is not just black women, it's black men too in the same type of jobs.
Right.
Like we live in a gig economy.
Right.
Exactly. So like a lot of these jobs want to pay you full time. They like I worked retail before.
Yeah.
So like they hired me to be part time, but I had full time hours. But they didn't want to give me the benefits, whatnot. All workers, especially the most vulnerable, need workplace protections, including minimum wages that are livable wages. Universally available family-friendly workplace policies that would be especially beneficial to women given their care responsibilities, paid sick and paternal leave, subsidized child and elder care, and flexible work options. Which is not the case, because I know you go to a job site now and you're looking for one of these essential jobs. They ain't got to give you flexible work options. You got to be open availability. And they change your schedule every week, so you can't even plan nothing. Man. You work when they want you to work.
And so your life revolves around working. And I mean, even when you look outside of the U.S. into different mindsets, like for instance, when you look in the French world, the French, their biggest criticism of the U.S. when it comes to the whole rat race thing is we work. The French say, we work to live. You guys live to work.
That's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause you work so much, so you have a decent place to stay, have a nice car to drive,
right?
And you can't even enjoy it because you always clocking in somewhere and putting in overtime somewhere.
Right, exactly.
I remember I met this black guy, and he was telling me
we don't even need this.
Yeah, the more we good.
Yeah.
I met this black guy, and he was like bragging to me that he lived in a white neighborhood. He talked about how nice his house was and everything, right?
Right.
But he was on his way to his second, third job. So I was like,
You're kidding me.
So I was like, well, we didn't have any time off. So he was telling me that, and mind you, I think he was married with kids, and he said he only have one day off.
You're kidding me.
But this man, that one day off, you still can enjoy yourself because that one day off, you doing stuff around your house.
Right.
Your lawn may need to be cut. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, do laundry. You man to cook. It's a lot of things you have to do.
And then by the end of your day, you're thinking about work.
And then you go back during the next day.
Here's a funny thing, man. Back when I was working at this restaurant, I was working at a restaurant. I had a marketing job there, and I would go in the kitchen and I would talk to the people that worked there. There was this older man named Jose. Of course you could guess he was a Hispanic man, Mexican man, and me and him used to talk. I used to practice my Spanish with him, and he was telling me, he was like, something. He had a business. I don't remember what the business was, but he was an entrepreneur and he was expanding into Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Dude was doing he was doing really good for himself. And so he was cutting back his hours at the job. And he told me, he was like, and it was kind of a criticism of his own community. Of course, him being a Mexican man, he was saying one problem that I see a lot of, but of course we see it in our community as well. He said, one problem that I see a lot of, he said, what's the sense of you working so hard at a job to get a nice house that you're never at?
Jody gonna be in that house.
Jody's gonna be enjoying your house.
Jody's gonna be in there because you're never there.
You're never there. So people like the dude you brought up works to live around white people. You don't even get a chance to meet the white people you want to live around because you're always at work.
I mean, someone telling me they worked at a job, and they say you can tell how good a job is by going in the parking lot. And you can see the type of cars the employees drive. Mm-hmm. And
that's real.
Yeah, that's really real. And but then one person went to the job, and it was like our employees had nice cars because these people working overtime. They were overtime working nice cars. And I guess in most cases it'd be like 95% black employees, white supervisor. Yeah. And I guess the supervisor so we in the parking lot one day and saw like it's too many nice cars in here, so he cut out the overtime.
Wow.
I'm like, you can't make this up, bro. Like, wow. A lot of them use the overtime money to get the nice car.
That's a slaver mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all.
We paying y'all too good. We could back on y'all hours.
Y'all there enjoying, you guys enjoying life? You guys got cars to have fun outside of here? Oh, boy, we couldn't make that overtime.
No. Clock out now.
Man.
That is it, man.
Hey, that's a mess.
That's wild.
Right, you see the stuff they're able to pull on us.
Yeah.
And get away with it.
Like I said, they keep moving the goalposts.
Yes, exactly.
But then they say you're lazy.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
So here you get the Great Migration. The Great Migration, sometimes known as the Great Northward Migration, was a movement of 6 million African Americans out of the rural southern United States to the urban northeast, Midwest, and West that occurred between 1916 and 1970. It was caused primarily by the poor economic conditions, as well as prevalent racial segregation and discrimination in the southern states, when Jim Crow laws were held.
Which, I mean, they're still
doing it up north.
Yeah, Jim Crow is still a thing up north.
Yeah, people try to make it sound it's only south. No, it's up north.
Yeah.
From the earliest U.S. population statistics in 1780 until 1910, more than 90% of the African American population lived in the American South. By the end of the Great Migration, just over half of the African American population lived in the South, while less than half lived in the North and West. Moreover, the African American population had become highly urbanized. In 1900, only 1/5 of African Americans in the South were living in urban areas. By 1960, half of African Americans in the South would live in urban areas. And by 1970, more than 80% of African Americans nationwide lived in cities. By 1991, Nicholas Lehman wrote, "The Great Migration was one of the largest and most rapid mass internal movements in history. Perhaps the greatest not caused by immediate threat of execution or starvation. In sheer numbers, it outranked the migration of either other ethnic group. Italians or Irish or Jewish opposed to the United States. For blacks, migration meant leaving where they always had been an economic and social base in America and finding a new one."
Man, it's really interesting seeing how the population changes throughout history, and you're seeing it now even.
Yeah.
Because now we're getting pushed out of cities.
Yeah, right. Like we went into the city and then get pushed out the cities.
Right.
But it also show the difference how you're raised now.
Right.
Because I remember Dr. Dumont Johnson, he was talking about how things got deindustrialized in the 1970s. But I was looking at my parents or my grandparents rather.
Yeah.
Most people's grandparents knew how to grow their own food and do certain things or build things.
Had more of a do-it-yourself kind of mentality.
Right, but now like most of us don't know how to do a lot of that stuff anymore. We've been spoiled. We live in the city. We just you just walk down to the Whole Foods now.
Right.
But like you said, now that white people they took over the gentrified area and pushed us back out.
Right.
And then the whole C thing happened.
Right.
And then it was more higher cases in the city because they live closer together. So now they're trying to move back out. Man, like it's so back and forth. But
pick one.
Yeah,
but here's the thing: the younger generation of white folk are gentrifying, while the older generation are running out.
Yeah.
So it's like you're trapped.
Yeah, but some of the young ones, the younger ones want to move out now because the reason they move into the city like Midtown.
Yeah.
Because of the nightlife and things to do.
Right.
But if all this stuff is closed now, you paying all the extra rent for nothing. To stay at home. So like it's kind of confusing, but while all this stuff is going on, these rural jobs still need to be done. These low wage industrial jobs still need to be done.
Right, and who's going to do it?
Right. Well, they crossing the border.
Yeah.
That was our replacement.
Right.
And we're going to get to it towards the end of the show.
Yeah. National Review of 2015 data on white-collar employment shows white men are 61.3% of executives nationally and 81% above parity when compared with their 33.8% representation in non-management professionals. Dang.
Yeah, and that. But you were saying that you mostly you can see a lot of workspaces. We have mostly black employees, white manager.
Yeah.
And most of the white managers, they didn't work their way up. They were hired for that position.
Man, from what I recall, a lot of times you will walk in and see a white dude getting interviewed. You're like, oh, who's that? Oh, yeah, they're getting interviewed to be a supervisor. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, like this is not a cashier right here, bro.
Right, exactly.
You can't come in and run into place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In 1967, African American mediation household. I'm messing up tonight. In 1967, African American median household income was 55% that of the whites. In 2016, that number was 61%.
Wow.
Dang, man.
It's still much lower.
Yeah, still a lot lower. Only up about 6%.
Yeah.
That's not much, man.
A long time.
In decades.
Yeah, about 40, 50 years.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Black men and women still represent a very low percentage of the professional white-collar workforce, less than 8%, given their overall representation in the population.
Yeah, but you still working most of the lower positions.
Right.
And like I say, man, most of us are clustered in the South in these major cities like New York, LA, but the places that we clustered in, those type of jobs we are working in these places.
Exactly.
As states reopen, black workers are at greater risk for the C thing. Because, the essential workers, which is the new slave class.
The coronavirus has cut a lethal swath through communities of color in the U.S. Communities of color.
I hate that.
So the article says black people, but then, communities of color.
Yeah.
So it's not just people of color, there's communities of color as well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Accounting for a disproportionate number of deaths of Black and Latinx.
I hate that term too.
Yeah. All right. Americans compared with whites. A key reason, and one that has largely been overlooked, their jobs are killing them. African Americans are more likely to work in jobs that can expose them to the virus, less likely to be able to take time off from work, and more likely to be the sole breadwinner for their family. Such factors, a legacy of the country's long history of racism and segregation, compounds the higher incidence of underlying health conditions among blacks that make COVID-19 deadlier for Black, Latino, and Native people.
Now they pointing it out when it comes to death.
Oh yeah, yeah. There we go. Yeah. That's when we get specific when it's something negative. The real drivers of the coronavirus are unjust policies and unhealthy settings, not people's genetic makeup, characteristics, or necessarily hygiene and social distancing behaviors. Dr. Zinzi Bailey and J. Robin Moon, both epidemiologists, wrote in a recent paper. Yeah,
and that's wild because most of these conditions, you gotta think about, man, we have our luxuries here in America, right?
Yeah.
And so and you want to keep the supply chain going. So somebody still got to ride these trucks. Somebody still got to deliver the food to your stores. Somebody still got to, like Amazon didn't stop, which means somebody got to work in these warehouses.
Matter of fact, they got stronger.
Yeah, they got stronger. Walmart, like these central places. And you walk in these central places, it's mostly black employees, you know what I mean?
Costco, Sam's.
Yeah, it's same spots, man. And like the people driving around, like the rideshare drivers, most of them may be black. Security for these places that are open, mostly black. Like I said, the cooking, mostly black. The caregivers, black. Like
people who work transportation.
Yeah, anything of service related. Most of them, if it's in a place where there's a high black population, most of them people going to be black.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is crazy. Next year, so we got it.
Black workers like Finch are much more likely than whites to be in frontline jobs, in healthcare, grocery stores, public transit, or transportation. While they make up 12% of the population, African Americans account for 26% of public transit workers, 19% of child care workers, and 18% of warehouse, trucking, and postal workers, according to an analysis from the Economic Policy Institute and the Center for Economic Policy Research. Overall, oh yeah.
My bad.
Overall, about 17% of Black America's frontline workforce is Black. 17%.
Yeah.
Dang.
It was crazy.
Man.
But it's the area they populated in, because like most of them are like public transit workers. I say the same thing, warehouse especially.
And the thing about it, you might look at the numbers and be like, I mean, that's not much, but you got to think about that's concentrated in the city.
Yeah.
And that's with a country that's mostly white.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, think about states like Nebraska or Iowa where there's not much black folk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's gonna skew the numbers a little.
Yeah, because we're not concentrated in those areas.
Exactly.
I mean, we use the graph here. You know, you see like the public transit, the child care, the trucking, healthcare workers. You know, like they have a lot of black RNs and whatnot working in these hospitals.
Right.
Like most of the higher status type of jobs, you can say, they still working remotely.
Exactly.
I mean, they still working from home doing this even today. So they don't have to be exposed as much.
Exactly.
But like I said, all the jobs are things of service, you know, or whatnot. But just wanted to show, the essential care worker caring for the sick. Yeah, like people, they have nurses going to the homes of the elderly.
Right, delivering packages and keeping grocery stores open.
Like construction still going on. They work in a group. So it's lots of that we're exposed to. Yeah, you can go ahead.
From bus drivers to security guards to hospital orderlies. Black workers are overrepresented among COVID-19's frontline essential workers, defined as essential workers who must physically report to job sites where they face elevated risk of infection. They are especially overrepresented in jobs that put workers and their families' lives at risk without even a family-sustained living wage. Goodness.
Yeah.
Black workers occupy 13% of all jobs across the economy, but they make up approximately 90% of essential jobs that pay less than $16.54 an hour, the wage necessary to meet the basic needs of a family of four.
Where at? Like, where at?
Maybe in Alabama? Or
$16.54 an hour. The wage necessary to meet the basic needs of a family of four. Like
a four, man?
I see $16.54 an hour for one person.
Right.
Yeah, and that's if they have a full-time job at 40 an hour, and even then that's quick. Well, it depends on the article written, but I think today in 2021, you gotta make damn near $25-30 an hour at this point, to be honest, to be.
If you're just one person taking care of a family of four.
Like I say, or maybe the depends what you're living in, because Atlanta getting really expensive, man.
Man, and, I mean, all cities are getting expensive. And the thing about it is...
Atlanta on the cheap side of expensive.
Exactly. Exactly. Atlanta is cheap compared to other
New York, and
New York, Florida, California.
Yeah. You paying about 2 G's for a closet space.
Yeah.
In Cali.
I mean, somewhere you can't even lay down. You got to stand up.
Yeah, that's why I never That's why I never cared. That's why I never cared for these unemployment rates. The presidents be bragging about, like, Biden, Trump, Obama.
Yeah.
And cause those numbers are so screwed, because all the time they talk about jobs that's construction work, so they not even long-term jobs. And then they talk about jobs that they don't really pay enough. So the unemployment rate may be this percentage, but that person who do have jobs still need 2 more jobs just to make it.
Man.
So you really need about 2-3 jobs, not that one.
Exactly. So are you counting each job as a different person?
Yeah, no numbers, but you twist numbers the way you want to.
Statistics is the highest form of lying, man.
Yeah. So there's a few numbers here. They're going over personal care aides, cashiers, janitors, cleaners, except maids, housekeeping, cleaners, laborers, freight stock, material movers. Yeah, think about it. You still got a lot of truckers. You still got a lot of trains carrying raw materials going around. So there's a lot, they've been pushing around.
And the thing about it is, looking at that chart, of course these are large numbers, but I'm wondering how much intersectionality there is between these different jobs. Somebody that's working as a cashier and a janitor.
Yeah. Yeah. We always treated second-class citizens,
Yeah, seriously.
And now they want to replace that.
They want to take it. They want to make us third-class citizens behind the robots.
Yeah. Fourth behind the Hispanic.
Yeah.
The best companies to work for as rated by Black employees. I thought this was interesting. Employees rated the companies based on how equitable they think their pay practices are, opportunity for promotion, and other criteria. The stark reality of workplace culture is that not all employees experience culture in the same way. The Glassdoor report states. Glassdoor is a website. They have different employers, and you get used to different reviews.
Yeah.
So I know when I was looking for a job, on Indeed, I would go to Glassdoor to see how people felt about working for this job.
Right.
You know, I know I'm gonna get the real deal.
You get good reviews and figure out what you're gonna be dealing with.
Yeah, you know. The experiences of different demographic groups inside companies, employees of different races and ethnicities, gender identity, sexual orientation, and more. So, you know, sexual orientation, man, this is my thing, man. Like, are you sitting here interviewing people like, hey, are you gay? You know what I mean? Like,
when does that come up?
Yeah, like, why do you even care? Why does it even matter? Bank of America said 45% of its U.S. workforce are people of color, of which 13% are black. See, that's not really this needed.
So you got that big old 40, dang near half, and then 13%.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? At Starbucks, black Americans represent 8% of the total workforce. According to 2020 data, black men and women make up 6 and 14%, respectively, of the total workforce at Capital One in 2019. The Glassdoor survey also touted ratings for black employees at Amazon, Best Buy, IBM, Lowe's, McDonald's, and other widely known brands. CVS Health, Macy's, Walgreens, and the U.S. Postal Service received the lowest ratings from black employees according to the report.
Dang.
Notice, Amazon, Best Buy, IBM, Lowe's, McDonald's, other widely known brands, CVS Health, Macy's, Walgreens, and the U.S. Post Office.
Man,
the lowest ratings.
Highlight the U.S. Postal Service.
Yes.
Police.
And they all what? Essential jobs.
Exactly. Right.
Black employees getting treated like crap.
Man.
Lowest rated. One additional finding from the Glassdoor report centers on how black employees' rating of employers compared to the company's overall score among all workers, said Glassdoor chief economist Andrew Chamberlain, who led the survey. For example, Amazon received a 3.2 rating from black employees in the survey compared to a 3.9 overall. Macy's received a 2.7 for black employees, but 3.4 overall.
Goodness.
The disparity suggests black employees are less satisfied at work compared to co-workers at other ethnicities, Chamberlain said. It shows in an undeniable way that the lived experience is not the same for all employees inside the company. This has always been the case, but it has been hard to measure. So although some companies fare better than others, Glassdoor said the survey results help job seekers and employees alike. Higher rated companies like Apple can use the data for marketing campaigns and to recruit more diverse talent, said Stephanie Felix, the Glassdoor senior manager for diversity and inclusion.
Just imagine Apple just having a campaign. Get your black behind here to work for us.
Job seekers, particularly those of color, can use a survey when picking which company to apply for work. If you put the data out there, people will have a better understanding of what's happening at the organizations. You really can't count Apple because Apple's a tech company, so you're not really a person of service outside of a Apple store.
Right, and another thing too. I mean, people might wonder why black employees are less satisfied, but I mean, you gotta think about how they treat them. You gotta think about promotions is a big thing, man.
We just said it, man. Most of these people are lower black employees, and you had the white manager.
Exactly.
And
so they're not in a rush to give all them promotions or more pay.
And then you do have a black manager. In most cases, they don't get along because that black manager is acting white. In most cases,
man, sometimes a black manager is worse.
Yeah, right. For real, that's facts. So yeah, they show you the difference. Black employees are less satisfied at work than all other employees. Listen, Captain Obvious over here in these articles. Right. Yeah, once again, they're big up Apple, but like I said, Apple is not really a job of service. So you work for Apple, you're working on the higher end of things.
Right. That's one of those Silicon Valley kind of jobs.
Right. Exactly. Well, I bet they don't ask their employees over there in China, but they contract workers.
I mean, those are people of color too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because of course they contracted out to, if y'all don't know, people that make the iPhones are not Apple themselves. They subcontract companies in China that make the phones. There was a big expose a few years ago. The work conditions were so horrible there. I mean, they worked extra long hours. I want to say 16 hours. It was longer than 12 for like pennies on an hour.
Were they the ones with the nets?
Those are the ones with the nets.
Yeah,
it was so bad. Those employees were committing suicide on the damn clock. And instead of improving their working conditions, these people put nets around the windows so when these people jump, the net would catch them.
Yeah.
And they had to go take their ass back to work.
Like, and the manager probably came out and said, "You're fired." Look down on that. You're fired, and you're fired, and you're fired.
You're fired. Like you can't kill. And then they used to have a policy where, because they worked them so hard, they had deaths.
Yeah.
They used to have a policy where if the employee died, they take care of the family. So when so many people dying, they cut that off too.
Man,
and so these people are making the iPhone. But like I said, these aren't Apple employees. These are subcontracted companies making these devices.
Man, it's cruelty.
Yeah, man, crazy.
Black employees are less satisfied than all other employees at work, giving employers a rating of 3.3 compared with an average of 3.5, according to the new research by Glassdoor. However, job satisfaction among black employees varies widely by company, Glassdoor said. The research analyzed 28 employers, each with at least 15 ratings from U.S.-based black employees. When comparing black employee ratings to a comparison group of people who self-identified as non-black, the report found job satisfaction was lower at 11 of the 28 companies, according to Glassdoor.
Yeah, almost half.
Goodness. Alternatively, when black employee ratings are compared with all overall company averages displayed on Glassdoor, which include all employees and does not consider whether demographics were shared, job satisfaction for black employees is lower at 21 of the 28 companies. Tech giant Apple, again, has the highest overall company rating among black employees with a 4.2 out of 5 rating.
Did Apple sponsor this article?
Man, I'm starting to wonder. This is like the 5th time they came up.
Oh, man.
By contrast, retail apparel company Macy's has the lowest company rating among black or African American employees in the Glassdoor sample, averaging 2.7 out of 5. Glassdoor said.
I can see that. Yeah. Like I used to work in the mall. I never worked at Macy's, so I worked in the mall. So I know a lot of people that worked at Macy's. And I mean, like most retail jobs, like it's low pay, open availability. Like you can't get a set schedule, so like you just it's inconvenience.
Man, then imagine dealing with some of the Macy's customers.
Yeah, and then you gotta work, and then like we don't do holidays, but at the time I did.
Right.
And then and you gotta work every major holiday. Because those are high selling seasons like Black Friday, Christmas. Just Christmas, that was like a big deal. You know what I mean? So you gotta work extra hours, extra mess, the trash in the stores, the high, we got a high volume of people shopping.
You got a bunch of Karens yelling at you all day.
Yeah, and higher theft rates, violence. I mean, even like the past couple of years, Lenox Mall has been,
oh man,
like the new South DeKalb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's been dangerous. Like, and Lenox Mall is a high-end mall in Atlanta. And they've been having a lot of shootings in that mall in the past couple of years.
Because folks are in there.
And think about it, and not saying these people should be shooting anybody at all, but my thing, the biggest problem I have with these people, half of them, they were gunning at the employees that worked at the mall, not the shopper. The employees don't got nothing. That's why they're working, But I'm talking about, Lenox Mall had like a 7-story parking deck.
Yeah.
So of course, employees parking somewhere else. So they didn't really have nothing because they working in the mall.
Right.
But this is a high-end mall. So you go to the regular parking deck with regular shoppers, you won't see the Beamers and the Audis and the Teslas and all the high-end fancy cars. Like they're not really robbing them. They're robbing their own people who working in the mall.
Man, you are literally going to Buckhead, which is a rich area, to Lenox Mall, which is a rich mall, and robbing the niggas. Robbing the nigga that
just try to make a living
in a Honda or a Toyota.
They just try to make a living.
Come on, man. But you see how we do. Now, let me get that last paragraph.
Oh yeah.
It's important to note that these averages are far from preliminary data only and may not reflect patterns in the full workforces at these employers.
Of course, not everybody is going there leaving a review.
Right.
I have a bad job experience. I'm not going to Glassdoor to leave a review. I'm just gonna quit that job.
Right.
Yeah. So, just taking it back, this just show you how jobs really haven't changed since like the 1950s, So I found it's kind of hard to dig for this stuff, man, but I found one little list here. Nurses, which a lot of black nurses to this day.
Right.
Push cart operators, hat drivers, accountants, cattle breeders.
Push car operators, that's basically niggas working at Walmart.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Basically. Hat drivers, I guess like Lyft, Uber.
Yeah.
Accountant is different. But, I'm kind of surprised about this one. Cattle breeders, we've been like urbanized now.
Yeah.
But still, outside of it. Elevator operators, those been totally gone.
Yeah.
Replaced by robots or computers. Gas station attendants. Actually, that's still us, the ones that still do for full service gas stations.
Right. Because I mean, you'll start seeing more and more Indians in that, but.
I mean, like the no, I'm talking about what well, this is definitely before your time. Well, you know, you used to go, when you go to back in the day, you go to the gas station, you did not pump your own gas.
What?
Somebody was there to pump your gas for you.
Was this back in the 1960s? You remember that?
I don't. Yeah, jokes. No, but actually, well, there's only one state in the U.S. that's still required to have full service gas stations. I've got. Well, I want to say Wyoming or someplace. It was someplace weird.
Oh, okay.
But growing up with my grandparents, you know, I was younger. I hear laughing for the mod right now. But but I remember when I growing up with my grandparents, I was real young. They had full service gas station. Yeah. And there's actually a couple of full service gas stations like in Marietta.
Really?
Yeah, I remember I pulled over for gas and they was like, stop pumping my gas. You know,
man, yo, can you imagine? You're like, man, what the hell is this?
So back in those days, you didn't have self-service. Like, it was full service. So, like, once again, that's been replaced. You don't have those jobs anymore. That was a black job to have.
Interesting.
Yeah, parking lot attendants, still black. You still have those.
Right.
Valets. Yeah, you know, valets, you know, not regular parking, but like event parking, you know, concerts and stuff. You see them out there. Dry cleaners, I don't see as much. I see mostly foreigners.
Yeah.
Clerks, I see cashiers.
Of course.
Black people. So, like, this show you from the 1950s to 2020.
Not much change.
Not much change at all. These are service-based jobs.
Right.
So, like I say, man, the central job is a new slave class. And you have a slave class for capitalism to survive.
Right.
That people don't understand. Like somebody had to be screwed over for capitalism to exist. And it's so funny because, not funny, but, you know, when things went down in Texas, and, you know, I got other social media where I got a lot of people from Mississippi and Texas and stuff that follow. Right. And they would try to say, oh, you know, someone posted a meme, and it was an old white lady at the grocery store, and she was trying to get some water or food, but the shelves were empty.
Yeah. And
so it's like, oh, so next time I go to the store, remember, you know, save something for other people, right? And so, you know, everybody was liking the comment, like, yeah, love, you know. And I was like, me being an a-hole, I like, no, like, it's not my fault that I didn't prepare. I believe in disaster prep. You should have got there early, get your stuff. Like don't say it's all about me all year long, and then when something bad happened, now you want me to be selfless.
Man, here's a big problem is people want you to be selfless so that they can be selfish.
Basically, like, you want me to be selfless because you didn't take the time to prepare for this thing.
Exactly.
Because like we say, I talked to the other guy. Everybody was mad at Senator Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
For going to Cancun, and but like I say, if I had the money resources, I would have went to, and then you know. They made preparations.
And the thing about it is, what did they want him to do? Stay in Texas and freeze? Like, what is he going to do?
Yeah, and
do they think that he's going to pass out blankets to y'all? Like, what's he going to do in Texas?
But even if he would have stayed, he would have made preparation to have food and stuff already at his house.
He would have been fine.
He wouldn't be out there trying to fight these shelves that are empty by that point.
But you see, it's the symbolism of it.
Yeah, and America don't realize, you know, America is so reactive and not proactive. Right. As a matter of fact, I was watching a YouTube video today. This guy really broke it down, man. He broke down the whole Texas situation. And he brought the news clips and interviews of how they did tests on the Texas power grid a whole week prior to the storm. So supposedly it already supposed to be winterized already. It's supposed to be already been done.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and it's, you know, so it kind of seemed like they were preparing for this in a way.
Yeah. So they weren't just thrown off guard. They knew about this already, man. And they had these type of power outages and whatnot.
And you know, the power bill for people who have actually been able to use the power has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, some people have been paying like $16,000.
Oh yeah, I just saw something from Mississippi where they didn't want to they didn't want to vote out their bills. So some people stuck with like $1,000 like power bills.
Bro, thousands of dollars.
In that little bit of time.
Wow, man.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, price
still gotta pay it. Like, how the heck, man?
And it's crazy because if they don't pay it, they're gonna cut their power. And it's amazing because I don't know, it was a documentary or article I read a long time ago, but like it was like a stadium.
Yeah.
That had like thousands and thousands of dollars of past due payment to a power company.
Yeah.
That power's still on.
Of course.
Now, let you miss a month, maybe two.
Yeah.
They cutting your house off, bro.
Man, 2 is so generous.
Yeah, 2 is generous. You know what I'm saying?
You're not
generous
making it
by
past
saying
that
2.
month.
Yeah, they'll cut yours off over
Right.
a couple $100s.
Right.
But they can have thousands and still be on. They don't cut theirs off. I'm talking power, water, anything. They keep their stuff on. They can carry their bill over. But for us, like regular consumer, they cut it off.
Right.
Race doesn't impact how job seekers negotiate salaries, but it does affect how much money they get. Duh.
So it doesn't impact how they negotiate salaries, but it affects how much money they get.
I saw some interesting quotes out of this article here that kind of caught my eye.
Yeah.
And racially biased job evaluators see black job seekers as less deserving of higher monetary rewards, and they take issue when the black job seekers ask for more. Going down here, yeah. So in the paper Bargaining While Black, Hernandez and her colleagues suggest that bias may help explain the significant racial wage gap in the U.S. In 2016, the Pew Research Center reported that college-educated black men earn 20% less than college-educated white men. That's a big gap there. That's the difference between making $25 and $32 an hour.
Woo. Man, well, I mean, think about it. Even when it came to the thing about reparations, they're like, "Oh, what are they gonna do? Get rims and this, that?" They don't trust us with money.
Nope, for a
it's
reason.
That same slavery mentality where they don't need money.
Nope.
What are they gonna do with the money? Something ridiculous. Meanwhile, the white dude could do all kinds of mess with his money.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's doing us.
You know, by paintings of kids and all kinds of weird crap with their money.
Man, like it was another thing that stood out to me here too. That I guess I can just read through it. Biased evaluators expected black job seekers to negotiate less than the white job seekers. Yet, once the researchers put it to the test, the evaluators thought that the black job seekers actually negotiated more. As a result, they were less willing to make concessions. How dare you ask for more?
Right.
For the same job that you are more than qualified to do.
But Robert asked for twice what I asked.
In other words, because the expectations were violated, they gave the black candidates less money.
Wow.
Because they had the audacity to ask for more.
How dare you?
You know, the hiring process showed that not just a job seeker's mindset that must change, hiring managers who negotiate with black candidates also bring their biases to the table. Yeah. Each time a black job seeker would proceed to have made an offer or counter-offer, it corresponded in the receipt of over $300 on average less in starting salary.
Wow.
Like, so no matter, so they be trying to tell you,
spite, man.
Go to school, you know, cut your hair, you know, dress a certain type of way. That doesn't matter. They still see you. You still thinking to them. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter at all.
The 20 companies with the most low-wage workers. During the State of the Union address, President Barack Obama, so this is from 2013, indicated that he hoped to raise the federal minimum wage to $9 from his current stance of $7.25.
In 2021, that hadn't happened.
So I guess
$7.25.
So I guess he kind of forgot about that one.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
As it stands, the only state in the U.S. with the minimum wage higher than $9 is Washington.
Interesting.
A very not the blackest state in the world. Let's say that.
Right. But it's very expensive, a higher cost of living there any damn way.
Right.
But still sad that California's still at 7 though. Yeah. Here's a top 20 low wage employers in the U.S. Oh yeah, they say they are the noisiest people on earth. Wonder why they're so paranoid. Right. The top 20 low-wage employers in the U.S. Oh, your Walmart stores.
Right on top, boy.
Black employees.
And then McDonald's.
Yeah, Yum Brands. I didn't know.
Yummy Brands. What? So I
think they used to be owned by Pepsi. I thought.
So you're telling me that Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC are all owned by them?
Yeah, I think at one point Pepsi owned all of them. Man. I thought, but yeah, yep, they all connected together.
That's nasty.
Yep, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, KFC. Well, you see like KFC and Taco Bell together in some locations.
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, I always knew they were related.
Wow.
Yep, I don't know why I learned that from a long time ago, but they've been related like the whole time.
Man, I'm just hoping that Pizza Hut and Taco Bell ain't using the same chicken as KFC. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's funny. You think they're using chicken?
No, that's what I'm saying. The chicken with the 4 wings.
Yeah.
Is this more meat?
Oh man, McDonald's, Target, Tarjay, as some of y'all like to call it.
Right.
Sears was about to go out. Subway, black employees. Burger King, black employees. Mart, that's like a food supply service. Black employees.
Mm-hmm.
Starbucks, yeah. Applebee's, IHOP, man, like Macy's, Wendy's. Service, all service. These are all service type jobs.
Fast food and retail.
And yeah, they're basically it.
Fast food and retail.
Yeah, and mostly with a high percentage of black employees. All these,
Man.
Crazy, man. All right, sorry, man. I didn't have a link to this last one because I forgot to put it in the slide. But this just happened like today.
Yeah.
U.S. President Joe Biden reverses Trump green card ban. President Biden had lifted the ban that prevented many green card applicants from entering the country. Biden said that shutting the door on legal immigration does not help the U.S.
And so now we're gonna have more competition in the workforce.
That's our replacement, not even competition.
That's our future.
Yeah,
that's our future now.
We keep re-entering what they're doing here. The slave jobs are getting replaced by technology.
Right.
And the ones that cannot get replaced by technology, they're replacing it with immigrants.
Yeah.
Like, so he got in office. First thing he did, he laid out a plan, the dream plan,
right,
for legal immigration. For people they couldn't even vote for him. They can't even vote.
Man.
And they got tangibles.
This was before he even said the word black. Before he's even saying the word black.
That's it, man.
He's giving people who didn't even vote.
Yeah, only chance we're going to get probably is a new crime bill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to be our bill. Yeah. Now, he's gonna take it from I'm going to take it from the 3 strikes to the 2 strikes now.
That would be good. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to get to the point that they had to get rid of us, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they're already trying because they see this already being an issue.
Phasing us out, man.
They're phasing us out. Like we've been urbanized. We can't work these same jobs like they do. So the immigrants, they're willing to work these jobs. They're willing to work. I remember saw some show. It was a Comedy Central. So I don't know if Trevor Noah or somebody else, but they're basically saying white people. They had cool white people saying, "Oh, yeah, these Mexicans taking our jobs." So he went to the fields, and they get paid below minimum wage, to pick fruit and stuff like that.
Right.
And like, will white people work these jobs? No, but Hispanics still work these jobs.
Right.
We won't probably work these jobs.
Right.
But they'll work these jobs.
Exactly.
These jobs are still to be done. They're going to do it. And so if they got technology replacing these other jobs, and they got Hispanics doing those jobs,
right,
what jobs are we going to do? So that, of course, the black unemployment rate going to go up. With higher unemployment, higher crime rate.
Exactly.
And they're like, you're getting too violent. We got to get rid of these people.
And you already know it's that they're already afraid of the violence coming from us.
Already. So it's like, so these things are happening,
right,
and we was just talking about it before the show. It just seems like things are ramping up a lot faster than usual.
It's not even March yet. It's not even March yet. I thought I'm thinking we're 6 months in.
Yeah, it's been high action since last year. It didn't stop.
Yeah,
it didn't stop when you get a new president.
This is 2020 part 2.
Yeah, yeah. It's in effect. So we didn't have a lot for you for tonight. We just want to go over some of this stuff, man, and just showing you the patterns. The patterns haven't changed.
Right.
Like I say, things didn't really change here. It's just been renamed and rebranded, but not a lot have changed. So we just gotta break some of that down. How same jobs we had back in the day, we still have today. Mm-hmm. And I'd say in certain sense we had great opportunities. Like say we had ball players making millions of dollars. You have artists making millions of dollars. You have more black professionals,
and I mean,
black doctors and lawyers and stuff too.
When it comes to the black professionals, like that's one thing. But when it comes to even the ball players and the artists, they're still
slaves.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they can shut these people down anytime they want.
Yeah.
So that's very true. So they're not really free either. But so we're gonna go over that tomorrow night. Yeah, check out our website, blacknarrative.tv.
Yes.
You can see our most popular episodes. You can see our latest stream. You can see our merch. You can make our donations. You want to support the channel. Check us out. Tomorrow night, we'll have a special show going on tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on the Shabbat.
It's going to be a little sneak peek of something that we'll have Yaz will further on down the line.
Yeah, it's going to be a very casual Bible study.
Yeah.
So, like I said, tomorrow night is a sneak peek of what we're working on. And so once you see tomorrow night's show, we're gonna continue it later on.
Yeah.
So eventually, when we get unbanned, we have y'all want to have 3 shows a week.
Right.
So Tuesday, Thursday be the Black Narrative. Friday night will be a Bible study.
Yeah.
If you are into the Bible, if you're Israelite or anything that sort, if you're not, cool, it's all good. Take a black narrative.
Yeah.
So you're not forcing anybody to do anything, but we're trying to anyway.
We're trying to spread the word however we could.
Yeah. So hope you come back tomorrow night at 8 on the Black Narrative. It will be uploaded. It'll be uploaded as a premiere. And so the chat will be open during that time. Then y'all will not be on there interacting, having additional questions or discussion or whatnot. Anything else?
Just stay vigilant, yo.
Yeah, man. So until then, hope y'all have a great weekend. Hope I see you tomorrow night.
Yes.
If not, hope y'all have a great weekend, and hope we catch you on Tuesday night. So I hope you have a good one. Shalom.
Shalom, y'all. Good night. And I'm Akis, and we're the Black Narrative.
We are a Black First and Hebrew Israelite channel on YouTube that broadcasts live every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every week, we discuss controversial issues and challenge false narratives that are fed to Black people through mass media. We share research through videos and encourage uncomfortable conversations amongst the Black community.
Our show features topics such as exposing fact checkers, the racist history of medical research, the origins of so-called Black Greek fraternity organizations, Christian origins of HBCUs, and much, much more.
Look up The Black Narrative on YouTube or go to our website, www.theblacknarrative.tv.
Shalom.